But I noticed instantly after the cancer and like before versus afterwards, I would either mention it on a profile that like I have cancer, 0 matches, or I'd be like, okay, I won't mention the cancer thing. And then going on dates, and it would be like, I'd say it to them on the date because it's like sort of, I don't want this to go a while and then talk about it later on. The ghosting went through the fucking roof.
How difficult have relationships been for you since everything?
Can we ask you some, not so much quick fire, because we've got as much time as you'd kindly give us, but some questions that maybe might be a bit more blunt and to the point about.
Sure.
So first of all, are you religious?
Not especially, no.
No. Did your belief system changed prior to your finding out you had cancer to after it?
Nope.
We briefly spoke about your thoughts on what happens after we die earlier, but do you have, what is your thoughts on the afterlife? Does anything happen, or you just think it's gone?
It's just gone. No consciousness. I don't think you go to a heaven or a hell. And a lot of people are really upset about that sort of that idea. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just like you're gone.
Are you afraid of death?
Well, not really. I'd imagine like coming up to the point, I'll be afraid of that because it's just like that. Robbie Williams has a great line in one of his songs. It's like, I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to.
Right.
It's like that's how I feel. It's not like this sort of like, I will take on anything, but like because I believe that there's no sort of thing that happens afterwards, which I'd prefer it if there was. That would be great if there was some sort of like evidence of it, or like, so if you're a good person, you go to the cool place, or it's kind of the opposite, isn't it? If you're a bad person, you go to like, the bad place where all like, the fucking cocaine addicts and hookers are. It's like, yeah, let's go there. That's fun. Like, you go to heaven. Like I think it was like Steve-O's podcast. He was like, you go to heaven and it's like, all the boring people.
Yeah.
And then also like something else that he was pointing out where he doesn't like the idea of heaven and hell. And I never thought about this before, but he was saying that if there is a separation between like how good or bad you are in life, that's not a heaven then. If you go up and it's like, so your granny who you loved, I'm afraid she broke one of these rules, so she's down in purgatory. That's like, so I die and I thought I was going to meet my granny. It's like, nah, it's down there. It's kind of like a club. Like a lot of your friends are not going to get into the club.
The Streets. Mike Skinner has a lyric that says, I want to go to heaven for the weather, but hell for the company.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like that. Do you have any fears? Like, what is your biggest fear?
What would be my biggest fear? Probably that I say something stupid, like just as a joke. Over like a live stream or something, and then it's like, Iain said this, and then it becomes like this big thing. It's like, lads, come on, like it's taken out of context, and then trying to explain the situation further, and then how much sort of hate and vitriol can come in from like all that sort of thing, because like that's just something that happens quite a lot these days. And I think it happened in the past as well. People sort of say like, these days, you say something wrong and everyone goes after you. It's the PC gone wild. It's like, well, I think it's just more that we are sort of like project ourselves out onto media more. It's easier to do that, whereas before it didn't really happen.
Is your fear of getting cancelled quite big then when you rely so heavily on social media to be able to do what you're doing? I
get the fear that it just takes one person to start like spreading a rumor, and it's like it's not even based on any truth, and I can like, so far nothing has happened, but even like news articles that have been done with me and my consent, they've gotten so many things wrong.
Really?
Of all the news articles that I have contributed to, I think one of them has said everything absolutely right.
Really?
Like a lot of the time I will like a good one was like, one of the tattoos that I got was like a Rangers tattoo, because I'm like not Catholic by practicing, but by culture. And so someone up in Scotland was like, sure, you're a Catholic, we'll do like, get a Rangers fucking tattoo. And I was like, it's kind of funny, I like that. And I got the tattoo. And so a Scottish paper like did a review on me, and like they just got so much shit wrong, where it's like, I think they called me like Liam Walsh at one point.
Really?
I don't know if it was the same article. I don't want to poo-poo them that much, but like someone has definitely got my name wrong. Someone the the football article from the Scottish thing. They said that like serious clickbait that they had was like, you know, Irish football, Catholic Irish football fans. Like, I'm not actually Catholic and I'm not a football fan. So, like,
Do you not even support Celtic?
no,
Is it, what?
but it's a part of like, you know, that's the thing. It's like
We literally read that headline.
I read about 3 different articles that brought up the fact that you're a Celtic fan, that someone got a Rangers.
There you go. It was probably that article.
Wow, this is funny. I put into ChatGPT, where is Iain Liam Ward from? It's come back. Iain Liam Ward, also known as the King of the Diet.
The Diet.
As in,
King of the Diet?
yeah, is from Scotland, United Kingdom. He is a well-known figure in the fitness and diet coaching community. So then, and then I put, where is King of Chemo from? They put Iain Liam Ward, also known as King of Chemo, is from Scotland, United Kingdom. And then I put, surely he isn't from Scotland. How can you get that so wrong?
First name is spelled the Scottish way.
And then, because I'm having a full-blown argument with ChatGPT here, like, how can you get that so wrong? And then ChatGPT put, I apologise for the mistake. Iain Liam Ward is actually from Ireland, not Scotland. Thank you for catching that. I appreciate your understanding. How can they get it so wrong?
Well, I guess if they're taking things from different articles and stuff, all of the Rangers Celtic articles and stuff, just
Yeah. Is there anything you're less scared of now? Because I'll be honest, I'm shocked that you said that you care about being cancelled or you worry about, because and I don't mean this to come across like ignorant or rude, but because perhaps you have less time, that's less time for someone to cancel. Does that make sense? Like if
How do you mean?
Like if someone's got all these ambitions to be a newsreader for the next 20, 30 years, well, if they get cancelled, they can't do that for that. So I would have thought maybe you might have more of a fuck it attitude. I can say what I want. Is that not the case?
No, I wouldn't think so, because like, you know, a big part of the like there's certainly cancel culture, but then even within like the algorithms itself, like I was talking about earlier on about how like I wasn't able to do the 52 thing because they thought that the pencil in my mouth for writing down progress in the gym was actually a vape, which you're not allowed to do on a thing. Yeah, like that seems like, I wouldn't say more likely to happen, because you can always go and be like, TikTok, you've done this, you've taken down this thing. You could kind of go at them a bit more and be like, sort that shit out. That didn't happen. Like social media platforms, they have to do that. It's not like people like to sort of think like, you know, oh, they're bastards. How could they do this? It's like, they have a fucking billion customers or accounts. They do not have the same amount of staff to be able to siphon through all the sort of the reports and the complaints that the algorithm itself has gotten incorrect. They have to have some sort of an automated feature. Otherwise it ends up being with like, you know, anyone's able to say anything, and therefore it's not sort of filtered for kids. Like I'd be a big sort of advocate for free speech, but then there's also, it's like, it gets tricky when you start saying like, you know, oh, you can cure cancer by buying my peach juice. And it's like, you have to buy this peach juice. It costs £1,000. It's like, there, I think censorship is helpful, but like we're almost needed. But then it's like, at what point do you say that's not allowed?
Right.
It's so like, because it's like, that's clearly like, you know, the bad area, the black or white, like, you know, that's clearly like, you know, not a good thing. But then you get into the gray area of someone saying like turkey tail mushroom. It's like, you know, I started taking turkey tail mushroom and then like, my cancer was cured. It's like, okay, you know, a lot of people say that. So is there truth to it? We don't know, but like there could be. So it's like, you can't quite shut that down, but it's also kind of dodgy that some people might be able to like push that forward, being like, it 100% cured my cancer. I no longer have cancer. And then it's like, so many people are buying this thing based off of something that, you know, could be bullshit, but could be, you know, truth. Yeah. Well, their truth. It might be their interpretation that this is the reason why I no longer have cancer, where it could be something else. Causation versus correlation.
Is that something you've looked into, like alternative treatments, or do you just see those kind of things and think, I'll just do what the doctors tell me?
I kind of look at so any kind of alternative, not so much therapy, but any kind of alternative supplement that I would take. I go, all right, how expensive is it? What are the side effects that are negative? If it's like not too expensive, there's no side effects that have been shown. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, if there's a 1% chance that it is actually good at fighting off cancer or preventing further growth, then it's worth taking. And then it's also the thing that kind of pushes it a little bit more. If it's like a turmeric extract would be one of the things that I take, and it's like, okay, even if this doesn't actually have any effect on thing, turmeric is like, sort of regarded as like, something that's quite good for just general health. Again, like, it's not going to fucking save you from like, I was hungover and had broken legs, but then I took like one pill of turmeric extract and my legs grew back and my hangover went away. Like, it is like, these very small things, but like cod liver oil for joints, like that's quite a well-known thing that it's like, it gives you that teeny weeny bit of like extra recovery.
Has any of your outlooks on certain concepts changed since your life expectancy has shortened, in terms of money, in terms of relationships, like in terms of like saving and stuff like that? Some people save their whole life and then they die before they get to
I was never good at saving anyway, but like
right.
Now in particular, it's like
right.
Yeah, not
right.
that I have like a lot of money anyway. My whole fucking thing is to like remain living as I am. So like, I don't own the house is rented. My most expensive like sort of thing would probably be like going pints in a pub, maybe video games. I collect video games, but part of the thing that I like about collecting video games is I go to like the secondhand stores and get like, like Gears of War for like £1. It's like, okay, give me that. And so that's kind of part of the fun. Like if a new game is being released, I often don't particularly like buying it. I made an exception with God of War Ragnarok because I knew I'd like that game.
Right.
But outside of that, like if a new game comes out, I'm like, yeah, I'll wait a year.
Yeah.
It'll cost like half as much
Yeah.
if I really want to still get it.
How difficult have relationships been for you since everything? Because obviously,
yes, like that is one where it's like I have changed my my previous life goal when I didn't sort of have this like focused thing was to just have a really big family, like fucking 5 kids, and then just be like a decent father and make sure that I'm spending my time with my children rather than like I work fucking crazy hours so that I can afford a nanny. And it's like, okay, or you could do less and like not bother with the nanny and like you do that thing yourself, seeing as how it's like, oh, it's great, I took time off work and I was able to spend like time with my kids. Like, okay, why didn't you just like do that anyway?
Yeah.
With, like just taking less time off work. And it's like, if that is the thing that you're like prioritizing, the whole idea of like, I must bring back huge amounts of monies, and like, all right, now your kid is being like sort of on their phone a lot because you're not sort of around there to engage them and get them involved in like, hobbies and find out what they like as kids and then get them involved in certain shit. It's like sort of, it's definitely not lazy parenting, but I kind of think it's like people start off with their careers with this sort of like tunnel vision, and then it sort of gets to the family and the tunnel vision stays in that same way, even though it's like, I'm doing this so that when I have a family, I'm able to provide for them. And it's almost like they bull over that concept without actually thinking once that they have kids, it would be more like statistically way more beneficial to stick around with kids. And it's the same sort of thing when you hear about like people who are getting divorced, and it's like they then start fighting over custody, and it's like, I'm fighting over custody because like I don't think so and so would make a good mother, I don't think so and so would make a good father. It's like, you're fighting over custody because the child is like an object in your mind and you want to have more of the object, and you want to spend more time with them. If you were really like, completely sort of selfless about like, I want my child to grow up, you'd be like, I don't like you, you don't like me, but let's not get divorced because it's like clearly statistically good for the kid. And I'm not saying like I'm against divorce, but like just as a point, like people pretend that they're doing something for selfless reasons to like help the child grow up, and like you're really not. There's so much research to say that that's not a good thing. Spending time with the kids is always more beneficial. Anyway, so that was my goal. I wanted to really sort of be like a good fucking dad, but then once the cancer thing, I was like, right, be realistic. You might be able to get a girlfriend, might be able to get a wife. I don't think you'll be able to get someone who is going to have a family with you because you've got a short shelf life. And so it's like, let's have a kid together. It's like, okay, cool. Will you be here when they're 6? Probably not.
Right.
It's and like the woman that I would marry would probably be quite intelligent because that's something that I'm attracted to. So I would think that they would have the foresight to be like, you're great. I do not want to fall in love with you because you are like you got a short time expectancy.
Right.
Which is smart. It's like loads of people who are listening to this right now be like, oh, that's so unfair. It's like, no, it's not. We have to be realistic about like what is attractive and what isn't. And if you're not realistic about that, then you're kind of just living in this sort of woe is me sort of victimhood of like, why has this happened to me? Why don't people respond to me on not TikTok, Twitter? Fuck's sake, Tinder, yeah. Why aren't people responding to me? I'm great. It's like, do you think everyone else is the problem, or do you think you might be the problem?
Yeah.
And I noticed it instantly once, unless COVID had a factor, like it could have been, but I noticed instantly after the cancer and like before versus afterwards, I would either mention it on a profile that like I have cancer, 0 matches, or I'd be like, okay, I won't mention the cancer thing, and then going on dates, and it would be like I'd say it to them on the date because it's like sort of I don't want this to go a while and then talk about it later on. And sort of I kept sort of almost like testing different methods out to see do any of them work. And so different versus sort of like, do you want to go on a third date? And it just like the ghosting went through the fucking roof.
Really?
And I think again, I'm not going to be like, oh, women are awful, blah blah blah. I don't think that's an emotional response. I think that it was more that a girl would have found out about the cancer situation. I think her process would be like, fuck, how do I say no to this guy? There's no easy way. There's no polite way to say no to this guy.
Right.
Because she doesn't know who I really am, and how I'd actually much prefer her to just be like, no, I'm not interested, and not need to have an explanation. But like, that's just, it seems like that's the kind of the behavior these days. I'd imagine dating apps have had a negative effect with that, where it's like, I don't speak for all men, but me personally, I would much rather hear a response of, hi, we went on that date and you've texted me like, 3 times trying to get a response. I'll just tell you, I'm not actually interested anymore. Because then it's like, okay, cool, fine.
Right.
That's done. I don't need to think about that anymore. I would have liked to have gone for a second date with you. I thought we got on the first time, but like now that's out of the thing. I like it's not like men are fucking. Oh, I'm not gonna it's not gonna be like that. It's just gonna be like I can now let that go, and I can sort of I want to find a girlfriend, so now I'm gonna move on rather than spending and wasting time with this person. And it's like sort of. Like, not to say that it doesn't happen to like the other sex, the other way around, where like there's loads of ghosting out there, but I fucking hate it so much. It's just so rude.
Yeah.
Just simply not reply to someone, to think that honesty is not it's like something that needs to be avoided. And I understand there's a response from the female perspective where it's like, yeah, but some guys are really like, they don't fuck off and they're like really clingy and they try to convince you otherwise. And it's like, okay, cool. I'm 100% in their corner for that that's a dickhead of a guy who doesn't understand rejection. And it's like, that's fucking shame on him. But that also doesn't justify the behavior for like treating all sort of people in the same regard. And I'm sure there's loads of people that think like that's a sort of a sexist remark to make, but I would like you to think that I only know the one thing, and I'm sure it happens. Loads of my female mates say that the same thing happens from their perspective, but I'd imagine it's for slightly different reasons.
Do you still want a relationship?
Oh God, yeah.
A partner.
I'm not the motherfucker giving up here.